Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we take a look at how communities here in our region continue to recover after floodwaters rose in the summer. And a local library announces the return of its annual holiday bazaar that's been on a hiatus because of the pandemic.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
It's Tuesday here. I'm Dakota Maker at 6 o'clock, and it's my Monday. I'm back after a little time off. Brandon, can you believe that they gave me some time off, buddy?
Hey, listen, you deserved it. It's holiday time.
It is, but yeah, so had me 2 days off, Friday and Monday, and you know, I texted Steve. I said, hey, can I get Tuesday off? He was like, no. Was like, I was like, please, because then I would have just kept extending it, like, could I have Wednesday, Thursday?
Back to school.
Literally.
Got to get back in here.
You know, I couldn't even fall asleep last night. I just
all that anticipation for being
you know,
back.
I was so excited because you know I've never been on TV before.
That's right.
And
exactly
you know, I was
right.
it was the nerves. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'll get you.
It will.
I'll get you. All right, let's get into this forecast this morning. A little bit chilly out there to start the day. As we head on down to Whitesburg, hadn't been there a little bit this morning, but we're seeing some fog on Main Street, so just continue to be careful as you're heading out the door. Temperatures all over the place, 20s, 30s, and 40s. 28 Jonesville, 41 Moorhead, Jackson, Wise. Everybody else mainly in the 30s, but again, we got some low 40s in Ashland, back out toward Lexington and Louisville as well this morning. Wind started to come in from the south, not quite all the way up yet, but you're seeing a 13-mile-an-hour wind at Ashland, 5 miles at Pikeville, 8 miles at Wise, and 5 miles at Williamsburg. So we're continuing to watch all that this morning. A little extra on the coffee meter to max warming needed as you head out the door this morning. Your next dozen hours with donuts. Of course, you want to grab one of those before you head out the door this morning. Get you a little breakfast in. I think we see some sunshine mixed with clouds for a while this morning. Those clouds increase by this afternoon, but temperatures with those south winds very mild, back into the 60s after starting the day in the 20s and 30s. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you. The rebuilding process continues in eastern Kentucky 4 months after the flooding we had this past summer. Our Chandler Wilcox gives us an update on how two communities are progressing.
A lot of progress has been made since July 28th, and there's still plenty to do.
But we're in the cleanup phase, getting the field back in and maybe just dressing everything up to where I can get back to grooming it, cutting the grass and stuff like that.
Some buildings were washed away by the floodwater, like a country store on Highway 476 owned by Drury's grandparents that was soon to be celebrating its 100th birthday.
A lot of history right here at this old store. And it was kind of hard the first time I ever came up here to see the store wasn't here.
Now dirt covers the foundation of a building where he grew up. In Knott County, a newly furnished court replaces the historic one that so many players grew up playing on before floodwater destroyed it.
You know, it was an old floor, and like we said earlier, there's a lot of history on that floor. People were taking parts and pieces of the floor from the old one.
Region championship teams made their run on the original Knott Central floor. Now the new one could be motivation for the season ahead.
I think it will motivate them to want to play hard and do well on this new floor when the fans come in.
A lot of cherished property was taken sooner than Eastern Kentuckians hoped, and they are still faced with it every day while trying to move on to a new chapter in life. In Knott County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, Jones says he's planned on having a celebration for the store's 100th birthday, but now he does not plan to build anything back. Well, like many others in eastern Kentucky, Chastity Mullins was fast asleep in her Jenkins home as the water swiftly rose during the flooding. She says she still can't believe what she saw when one of her sons woke her up. A mother of four, Mullins and her boyfriend rounded up all the kids and gathered all they could before getting to safety. But they lost everything they left behind. To rub salt in the fresh wounds, her boyfriend was forced to resign from his job with no way of supporting themselves. They tried seeking aid from both FEMA and the Red Cross, but she had issues with proving ownership of her home to FEMA because her home was still technically in her grandmother's name.
A lot of the homes around eastern Kentucky are passed down through heirship or bought on a land sales contract that may not have been recorded with the county clerk.
Mullins says she is still trying to find paperwork 4 months after the flood. Well, if you are like Mullins and are facing some obstacles to getting help, one place you might be able to go for help are flood recovery meetings. Now, one of those meetings will take place today over in Breathitt County. The goal is to gather for a meal and have a conversation about the community's biggest flood recovery needs. The gathering will take place at Marie Roberts Caney Elementary beginning at 4 p.m. Now, you must register for the event, but at the end of the gathering, each household will receive a $100 gift card. There are two other meetings scheduled in Knott and Perry counties. Those meetings will be on December 3rd and December 19th. Well, FEMA has approved more than $2 million in FEMA buyouts. As of now, 13 properties in Perry County have been approved, and Perry County Judge Executive Scott Alexander says this is just the first phase, saying nearly 60 people have applied for the FEMA buyout program.
Once the people sign up, then it starts through the process of FEMA. Once approved, then we have to go back and do the paperwork and make sure that the family still wants their home to be bought out. Now, once the property is bought out, it can never be used again. It becomes a green space.
The judge executive says he hopes this helps prevent future flooding for the people with homes being bought out. He says if you would still like to apply for the FEMA buyout program, you can do so at one of the multi-agency resource centers. Well, the Perry County Public Library is hosting its annual Holiday Bazaar for the first time since the pandemic. The library has been hosting the Holiday Bazaar for more than 30 years, giving vendors the opportunity to showcase their items and community members the chance to enjoy the holiday fun and support local shops during the holiday season. Emmy Eversole with the Perry County Public Library says it is 2 days of fun.
It's just a place for local vendors to come and sell their goods. Some of it may be homemade candy, or it may be like quilts or Christmas ornaments. Some of it will be seasonal for Christmas, and other you may find UK stuff. And so it's just a little bit of everything, and it's great.
The event is Thursday, December 1st from 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and Friday, December 2nd from 9 to 5:30 at the Perry County Public Library. Eversole says all of the vendor tables are full, and she's excited to see the turnout this year. Well, Kentucky is known for horses and bourbon, and this week Lex Arts is celebrating both. The Painted Horse Mania statues that dotted the city are being moved to Keeneland to be auctioned off. Along with the horses, there will be some very special bottles of Maker's Mark up for sale. Amber Philpott has a sneak peek at the special blend of bourbon.
It's called a Whiskey Wall of Wonder, but these aren't your typical bottles of bourbon.
This is a gift that you can put on a shelf, put on and know that it's a one-of-a-kind. For a true bourbon collector, this is a one-of-a-kind opportunity.
The 200 bottles came from the Maker's Mark Private Select program, a custom blended bourbon inside and the work of a local artist on the outside.
Lex Arts, we're about bringing arts everywhere, and so to have we did a call for art. We had a huge response with artists. We had a great team pick 100 local artists to do this.
It was awesome. I would totally do this again.
The artist created 2 bottles each.
I did one at Keeneland and one Churchill. This one's Churchill. And of course, the more you turn it, the more you would see.
Now the artist's works of art are up for sale. The first 100 can be purchased by those going to Lex Arts' 50th anniversary celebration on Friday. The other 100 are being auctioned off online.
We're just blown away by the talent. I mean, we have everything from glass artists and multimedia artists, and you can see they kept the integrity of the beautiful red wax Maker's Mark drip.
That was Amber Philpott reporting. While Friday's event at Keeneland is sold out, half of the Maker's Mark bottles are up for auction online.
.09 here on this chilly Tuesday morning. We continue to see November drift away, but it's not gone just yet. Temperatures 20s, 30s, and 40s out there. A lot more 30s than anything, but 20s in parts of Southwest Virginia. Also 40s in parts of Southwest Virginia, along with Jackson and Moorhead, along with Ashland as well. Current winds, not a whole lot to tell you about this morning, but they're starting to pick up just a little bit, so we're continuing to watch those. Your day planner for today, we are going to see those temperatures continue to climb and quick, but the clouds will also continue to increase. Those winds coming out of the south, which is what's going to push those temperatures up quickly into the 60s by this afternoon. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. So it's almost 6:10. Coming up next, U.S. life insurance companies revealed just how much money they paid out to people last year, with COVID-19 possibly being a cause for the record amount. Stay with us.